Ever since the first rumors about a possible Lion King land replacing the already announced Star Wars land on the Walt Disney Studios expansion project, one question has been asked countless times by followers and non-followers alike. Why is Disneyland Paris doing it? Well, in today's video, I'll go over what was originally planned for Star Wars, the reason why it wasn't as good as you might think, what to expect from Lion King, how Star Wars might actually still come to the Parisian resort, and of course, why Disney would choose this 30-year-old animated lion cub over Rey, Kylo Ren, Chewbacca, and so many more from a galaxy far, far away.
Oh boy!
Before we begin, more than 80% of viewers aren't subscribed, so if you enjoy my content and this video, make sure to leave a like and consider becoming one. You can find me over at Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and in the Discord community where there never is a dull day. Links are in the description. Let's begin. It was in 2018 that the biggest news of the last decade had come for Disneyland Paris. The Walt Disney Company would be investing over 2 billion euros in the resort to transform, refurbish, and expand it. At the center of the investment was the transformation of Walt Disney Studios, the weakest Disney park in the world. With it would come a Marvel Land to replace the backlot area, a huge new lake, and 2 brand new lands around it, one to be themed around the world of Frozen and another around Star Wars. The plan was for this transformation to be phased, starting with Avengers Campus in 2021. Frozen and the Lake in 2023, and Star Wars in 2025. We now know that those dates would never be achieved as plans were put on hold due to the global pandemic. During the harsher times of 2020 and 2021, effort was focused on Avengers Campus to finish that as soon as possible. In summer 2022, it opened its gates to the guests of the Parisian park, and it was also at that time that works on the expansion side began, years behind schedule. That's just to summarize why it's taken so long to have what was announced all the way back in 2018 delivered. But what was announced? Well, when it came to the Star Wars land, not much was said other than there will be a Star Wars land, alongside the concept art which clearly showed a smaller version of Galaxy's Edge, built in both US resorts, and still to open at the time of this announcement. That being an important fact. However, as plans went ahead, information came in the form of site plans, permits, and others. Just enough to understand exactly what their plan was. When Disney sells the idea of bringing what is one of their best immersive and, quite frankly, large lands to their worst park, fans were obviously excited, but that wasn't completely true. Plans showcase what was actually meant to be built. A much smaller land with a few of the elements that could be found in Disney World's and Disneyland's version of Galaxy's Edge. Those have 2 rides, the interactive simulator that is Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, where guests can become the pilots of the best hunka junk in the galaxy, and the amazing experience ride that is Rise of the Resistance, where you narrowly escape a Star Destroyer and Kylo Ren. In Paris, only one of those rides would be cloned, Rise of the Resistance. The land would revolve around basically just a ride. It wouldn't offer the immersiveness that can be found in Galaxy's Edge, with the Market Street, the lightsaber experience, the vast areas, and others. The ride wouldn't be everything here, as a shop and a restaurant would be present as well. From the plans, I believe we would have the counter-service Docking Bay 7, a very well-themed restaurant with otherworldly food, and some shops similar to the Market Street, but in the open and just on one side. In the center of the land, it looks like Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities would also be cloned, but this could be any kind of shop or even the iconic Oga's Cantina. However, seeing the offerings already in the land, it's likely a merch location. At the backside of it all would be Rise of the Resistance, pulling people from the lake into this area. Rise would be nearly exactly the same as in the American parks, where you enter the queue in a more hidden location and make your way through the Resistance base until the First Order catches you. Before taking a look at why this mini Galaxy's Edge was replaced with the Pride Lands, let's try to understand what actually replaced it. This summer, Disney finally announced the new land after several years of planning. On the left of Arendelle, an African savanna will rise. At its back will be the large and majestic Pride Rock, this being the focus of the entire land. The entrance will be mostly bare, in a way representing the actual savanna. The paths will lead to the denser part of the land, where shops, restaurants, meet and greets, and the entrance to what promises to be a spectacular and unique ride will all be. Inside information that hasn't been shared or confirmed by Disney indicates that this will be a next level ride, filled with animation and animatronics, providing a new way to relive what is one of the best well-known Disney stories of all time. It's important to note that Disney has confirmed that this will be themed around the original 1994 movie and not the remake as seen in the concept arts. Behind the large peak of the savannah will be a very long and quite thrilling boat ride with a rumored 15-minute ride time, surpassing attractions such as the iconic Pirates of the Caribbean. While there are some similarities, Lion King won't be another Splash Mountain. The show building has a completely different layout, and it's believed to feature a much newer ride system. With such a long ride time, it comes as no surprise to see such a huge show building behind the large facade. Speaking of, I believe Disney will take a lot of what they learned with Tokyo Disney Sea's new Fantasy Springs, especially the Frozen ride and the whole Peter Pan area, as if you look close enough, there are many openings in the facades, similarly to how Fantasy Springs hides the show buildings and the attractions. We still don't know much of what's to be built here, and as we wait for the site plans and permits, I'm afraid we won't until those do come. One thing is for certain, this will be a spectacular ride, even if the land has some room for upgrades. It really is a similar situation to what our version of Galaxy's Edge promised to be, an amazing ride in what would be a better land. Except, this one has the advantage of being exclusive to Disneyland Paris. If you want to learn everything there is to know about Lion King, make sure to watch my video on it from August. Well then, now that we know what both plans were, why didn't Galaxy's Edge go through? There are a few reasons for that. First of all, the sequel trilogy would come to an end in the following year with Episode 9, becoming the worst performing one of the trilogy, which also came with less than enthusiastic critics. Over on the American parks, Galaxy's Edge opened up, and it wasn't the major and instant success Disney was counting on. There was little entertainment when Disney promised something that would feel alive with all kinds of aliens, droids, and interesting characters. Rise of the Resistance wouldn't be ready until months later, which only made matters worse. It can be said that its opening wasn't great, and this got Disneyland Paris thinking. In that same year, the company would release their biggest movie remake of all time, a new take on the beloved animated classic movie The Lion King. While there was some criticism, mostly to do with the lack of emotion the photorealistic animals portrayed, the movie was a huge success and made over $1.6 billion in the worldwide box office, to this day being one of the top 10 highest grossing movies of all time. While that all played a very important part on the decision making behind the switch from Star Wars to Lion King, there is still a lot more. We need to look at this from the European perspective, as that's where the impact of the land will be felt. With that in mind, the 2019 version of The Lion King was a massive success in the old continent, so much so that it surpasses the massive worldwide phenomenon that was Avengers Endgame. Yes, in Europe, The Lion King made more money than the second biggest film of all time. This graph shows exactly that, by comparing some of the biggest box offices of 2019. A perfect comparison for our topic today. You can see how Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker compares with The Lions. There's a huge difference between the two. With this, it can be said that Europe truly loves the classic story of Simba, but there's one other thing that I believe to be very important at play here. In the 30 years since the movie was released, there hasn't been one attraction or ride themed exclusive to it in the Disney parks around the world. Meanwhile, The Lion King is one of Disney's biggest and most profitable franchises, having brought in more than $15 billion to the House of Mouse from merchandise, box offices, licensing, theater, and more, surpassing Toy Story and many other highly profitable franchises. It's clear that the IP has been underrepresented in the world of Disney theme parks for decades, and that's where Disneyland Paris comes in. While Lion King has a lot of untouched potential, the same can still be said about Star Wars. We're talking about one of the most successful franchises of history and continues to be a powerhouse for the mouse, bringing millions of dollars from merchandise, licensing, and more. We haven't seen a theatrical release from this universe since 2019, but new films are being made and will come soon enough, starting in 2026 with Mandalorian and Grogu, which have proven to be a huge success with the Disney Plus series. Now, Disneyland Paris needs more Star Wars. There, I've said it. Currently, there are 2 rides that take you to the galaxy. One is completely themed around it and gives guests a full experience, Star Tours. The other is a Jules Verne themed ride with Star Wars slapped on it. Obviously talking about Hyper Space Mountain. The iconic roller coaster received a not-so-temporary overlay nearly a decade ago, but its days might be coming to an end. Disneyland Paris is rumored to be looking into several possible expansions of its original park, one of which behind Discoveryland, where a possible new Star Wars land could be built. These are rumors and, if true, still quite early into development. However, there is a lot of space back there, and together with Star Tours, a well-rounded mini-land, mostly hidden from the rest of the steampunk Discoveryland, could appear someday. This comes to show that, while Simba won Walt Disney Studios Park, soon to be called Disney Adventure World, the galaxy might not be that far away. The last question I want to try and clear out is simple. Which one is the better pick? Honestly, there isn't a right or wrong choice. Both lands have their own strong and weak points, and it comes down to how much you like Star Wars or Lion King. What isn't a personal preference is the fact that the Pride Lands will be a completely new attraction that is set to rival some of the best Disney has made, and not just a clone of an already existing one inside what is a worse version of the land it's in. I believe there's immense potential when it comes to The Lion King, and it will be incredible to enter Disney Adventure World and see both the snowy tops of North Mountain and the majestic Pride Rock side by side. Well, that's it for today's video. So, with all that in mind, would you prefer the Star Wars or Lion King land? Let me know down below. Hopefully Disney starts filing those Lion King permits soon enough, so we can explore them together here in the channel. And now, as always, thank you for watching, and that's a wrap.